Morning all, how are we all doing? Happy Friday. Finally, it's Friday. Here. How is everybody this morning? Morning, Amy, Church, Evil, Voice Jig, Monkey, Mumo, James, Neo, how are we doing? Wanted to ask, is anyone using the MRA indicator to help aggressive exiting hedge positions on the SIH? Nope. Exiting aggressive hedge positions. Trouble with the market reversal alerts indicator is obviously it's going, that's not going to work, that chart, is it? It's going to be quite late. So with SIH and indices, they move pretty quick and quite strong. So you'll find by the time you get some kind of signal to get out, you've missed all of that movement, all that price action. So it's a bit, the market reversal alert indicator is really good for signaling structure breaks, but it's slow. On indices, you've got to be fast. So I don't know if it would be helpful. 1 minute chart maybe. On M1, maybe. Don't know. Yeah, not sure. Never really thought about it. Friday is Small Saturday. Depends where you work. Right, today got quite a lot of news to cover today. Obviously, there's a hell of a lot happened yesterday, and there's a few bits and pieces to go through overnight from the Bank of Japan as well. And obviously, we've got some news coming up today. So just quickly before we look at news, there was a second order went in this morning from the Bank of Japan. Not as big, but obviously they are trying to push this by the looks of things. So if you look at the ADR dashboard today, Aussie dollar yen has hit CAD yen, Swiss yen, Euro yen, pound yen, New Zealand. So all the yens basically, every yen pair has hit today. We've got 150 ADR on the Swiss and the Euro. So this morning, basically what they've done is they've looked at the Euro, and it seems that they've hit that, but it's obviously moved everything. So yeah, just bear in mind, obviously, these ADR hits today. If you're using the market reverse alert EA and using ADR strategy, you're going to get into some weird old trades. When these sorts of intervention moves happen and you get these weird, huge candlesticks that basically do 150% of ADR almost immediately, the EA gets confused. It is going to get confused in these situations, and you get some weird trades. So you just got to kind of babysit it a little bit. From a mean reversion perspective, you just would have struggled to get into this sort of stuff. So just ignore all these today. Aussie, New Zealand, we've also got an ADR hit on that one. It is just hit ADR, but that is a broker candle gap down. So not maybe sort of, but if you did take that this morning, it's already played out by 50% of ADR. So you'd have got out of it. Morning, Gregors. So yeah, so that's basically what's happened overnight. The propulsion gaps on yesterday's news seem to be holding at the moment. Obviously, the Japanese one, it's impossible to tell where it's going to pull back to, or if that is their second attempt, or what's going on with this thing. But they haven't retraced it. The US move yesterday, as I said yesterday when it happened, there's a retracement, a V-shaped recovery on a lot of this stuff. So we've got a V-shaped recovery sort of underway. Pound US propulsion gap is holding at the moment. Euro US propulsion gap just about holding at the moment. Just about. And if you look at the other US pairs, Aussie US, A-shaped recovery, New Zealand dollar US, A-shaped recovery. So remember when I said this move yesterday, when this move went in, that's a complete overreaction. The likelihood is we'll get A-shape and V-shape recoveries on these, which has happened because it was a 0.1% miss on monthly figures. It's nothing. This is total overreaction by the market, which brings me on to the news. Yesterday at 4 o'clock, we had that come out. Fed swaps fully price in a 1/4 point rate cut in September. So we've gone from we're going to drop the rates in September to we're going to drop the rates possibly in November to there's absolutely no chance of a rate happening this year, guys. It's going to be 2025 to we're going to have 2 rate cuts this year to no, it's going to be 2025 again. And now we're back to 1 rate cut in September. No wonder the market's confused and the US dollar's going sideways and hasn't got a bloody clue what's happening because we've had 5 different outcomes in probably 8 months as to what is going to happen with interest rates. So now, because we had a 0.1% drop more than we were expecting, and they're still an entire percent above target, now we're bringing it forward 3 months again. So we'll see what happens in 2 weeks' time. We'll probably be looking back at 2025. So the US dollar at the moment hasn't got a bloody clue what it's doing. The Fed are all over the place. So kind of ignore anything you hear out of the Fed at the moment, unless it's coming out of Powell's mouth. And even then, I wouldn't trust it. But it is likely some policy adjustments will be warranted. We need more information before we can fully take the next step, i.e. we will watch the CPI data. So it's exactly the same talk as always. This is why I said yesterday that market reaction was completely unwarranted. Nothing's changed. You're way above inflation target. It's not coming down fast enough. So why on earth would you bring the inflation drop, interest rate drop forward 3 months? Load of rubbish. Economic outlook is on a path where 1 to 2 rate cuts this year would be more or less the appropriate path. Don't forget, again, same as what we heard yesterday from the Bank of England, this is one person, Daly, out of a group of people that make decisions on interest rates. So one person will come out and say one thing, 2 hours later, someone will come out and say completely the opposite. Yeah, they're always arguing about what to do. So we had all this coming out yesterday, which undid the entire lot. We got loads of Fed people talking yesterday, but the upshot of it was that was a knee-jerk reaction. Ignore it. Japanese came out. We got 5 minutes to the open. Canada declines to comment on intervention speculation. Notes significant foreign exchange movements. Yeah, you caused them. I've noticed that the forex market moved. Really? Funny that, isn't it? You just bought shed loads of yen with all your dollars. I wonder why. States concern over FX movements affecting people's livelihoods. You caused them. Responds to excessive disorderly moves. Yeah, same stuff. Yeah. Intervention knowledge is limited. I don't remember pressing the button. Wasn't me. Very funny. They said it yesterday, didn't they? We're not going to comment on intervention. We will neither confirm nor deny that we pressed the button to completely tank the US dollar yen. Anyway, trader. I said it. Maybe that's me they're reporting on. Bank of Japan conducts rate check on. Oh no, that's yen euro this morning. So they're looking at the euro rate against the yen as well now. Obviously, second biggest export from Japan, apart from the US, goes into Europe. So again, important that the euro yen is also stable for them, which tends to happen or kind of by default when they manipulate the US. So that was basically the overnight news. Loads of stuff. Hayashi, we're going to take necessary measures. You already have. You're lying. What's it? Suzuki, not going to comment on whether they intervened or not. Must have just been somebody accidentally spilling coffee on your terminals or something then. So the same old rubbish coming out of Japan about the intervention, which they did and are denying. French CPI has just come out on target, so nothing there. So that's it. So that's your overnight news, basically mostly about the Bank of Japan. This afternoon, we've got PPI, Producer Price Index, which feeds into the Consumer Price Index, which has dropped. So if we get a drop on that, that will indicate a further drop in CPI on the next reading, which will be bearish for the US dollar. So we'll see what happens there this afternoon. If we get a bull reading on that, that's going to put more pressure on that US dollar yen intervention, and the Japanese may press the button the second time, although they obviously didn't press it the first time. Anyway, so yeah, we'll see what happens there. On other news, the US obviously at the moment is braced for a new leader. Biden, I don't know if everybody's seen the news this morning, but Biden overnight dropped 2 massive clangers at the NATO meeting. He basically introduced Zelensky onto the stage as President Putin. And then he was questioned about Kamala Harris's decent, whether or not she would be good president or not. And then he came on and said Vice President Trump. So he was calling his vice president Donald Trump. And this was all within like minutes of him then going on to say that, here's the leader of Ukraine, President Putin. So I get the feeling we're going to have a little bit of instability in the elections coming up. So for the dollar, anything that happens with election stuff tends to send the market into a bit of chaos. So if you are trading Swiss franc at the moment, when we get these uncertain times and things start to get a little bit like what the hell is going on, the Swiss franc tends to benefit. So we saw yesterday a bit of a safe haven run coming into the Swiss. So just be prepared for some Swiss franc strength as well, potentially, because I don't see how Biden can be viable moving forward. So the question is, what the hell are the Democrats going to do? And that's going to be something very uncertain. Possibly something gets dropped over the weekend and we get gaps. So just be aware of all of what's going on with the politics at the moment, because it's a bit of a crazy time. Quite tricky to introduce Zelensky as Putin. I mean, you can't really write that one off, can you? Not going right up there, is it? So it's got to be a bit cautious as to how that might affect the US. DAX has broken along. It's also gapped at the open. A lot of volume coming in long at the moment on the DAX. FTSE, nothing so far. So FTSE this morning, just got to be aware of we're running straight up into the weekly highs here at the open. DAX, we've got a little bit of room to the upside. We've got a high there and we've got the last week's high there. So we've got an area of resistance to the upside on both of these. The FTSE is literally millimeters away from last week's high, which is here. So just flicked, triggered long. So there's a chance that we may hit that, reject it, and completely collapse. So there's going to be limit orders at the week. There's always limit orders at weekly highs and lows. So it's whether or not there's enough limit orders there to restrict price. We are going into earnings fortnight as well. So there'll be a lot more sector purchases going on, which will affect the European indices as well as the US. So might get some volume at the open, but we'll see where we go today. It looks like it's struggling to break long. So is the DAX. Had 2 hedges yesterday, couldn't get out of them. Not enough movement yesterday. Price action yesterday was just very sideways. We did get a push up, but just sideways. So as you can see on the FTSE there, there's just no exit from the hedges yesterday. Just didn't move far enough. The actual total movement on the FTSE yesterday from low to high was 46 pips. 76 is ADR. So, we only really moved about half an ADR yesterday. Just didn't go anywhere. Nothing you can do with it yesterday. Pain in the backside. Morning, Virginia. Bonjour. Ismet. Do you think with the Japanese intervention, you would expect it to be much more aggressive, or will they intervene in stages? It tends to happen in stages, usually a few days apart. But you just don't know what they've got under the hood now. I was quite surprised that we got that yesterday without actually breaking highs. But that was caused by the CPI. So whether or not they hammer this home and put another stage in, the second stage intervention tends to be a lot weaker. So you look at the last one here. So that move was 570. That move there was 500. Actually, well, that was pretty similar, their second one that time, wasn't it? previously the second intervention was weaker, but started a cascade effect and it started to move. So you could easily be looking at a push back down into the 72 if they do another one. But it's unlikely to happen today. But if those PPI figures come out negative today, they may well do. So you just can't tell. But normally it comes in stages, yeah. So that last time. So if you remember last time, what I did, I was stuck and I got out of the whole Japanese position literally an hour or so before the intervention move came, which was just annoying. But I managed to trade that short and make the money back that I lost there. So I actually made just under 3% on it because I lost 9 there and made 11 there. So that would be the play back up into a 50% retracement. If it can push today, it's unlikely to get up there today because it's going to have to move 3/4 of an ADR after already doing 150 ADR. But if it can get up to there, that would be the short play from there, if it gets there. But I don't know if it will. Is my terminal frozen or has the entire market frozen? Could be either. Very little movement after that initial order on DAX. FTSE's just stuck as well. We're stuck today. So we need to watch the PPI this afternoon and see where we go. But obviously this intervention move from the Japanese, been through it many times in here before. Yeah. So that was the previous intervention back in 2022. We then got warned about a second intervention there. And that one came in 2 stages as well. We then had another intervention attempt here, which came in 2 stages. We've just had another intervention attempt here. So they are trying very hard. Typically after an intervention, that's what you get. Yeah, there was an intervention there as well, which shocked the market. They tried to rally higher, then they threatened again and the market reacted. This one failed. What's going to happen to this one? You just don't know. You can't tell. It's impossible to know how these intervention plays are going to work out. That one there was 612 pips. The one we had there was 500 odd. The one we had yesterday was 400 odd. So, they are getting weaker. That was a massive intervention. That one came out of the blue. We were warned about it. The market didn't really think they were going to do it. When they did, there was like, holy crap, get out, buy the yen. And then they got threatened again. They bought the yen. Then they got threatened again and threatened again and threatened again. They broke it. The Japanese threatened for 2 weeks. Remember, 2 weeks solid, 3 weeks solid. I was saying every day, Japanese again, threatening, Japanese again, threatening, rallied, and then they did it. So what happens here is impossible to tell. But that 163 level I've got on the chart here, this orange line, that's the level that Goldman Sachs, I think it was called, as the maximum that they think they'll tolerate. And 161 was the level they called as the lower end of that scale. So that's 161-ish. That's where we got the intervention. So I get the feeling if interest rates now have been called as short or dropping on the US in September, market may well start to scale out of the US dollar. If they scale out of the US dollar, they may well pump it into the yen because the interest rate is virtually nothing. So you're taking it out of something high, you're putting it somewhere safe for a bit to see what happens with the US. So it could well start a cascade effect on this. Yeah, that's what you'll be looking at. Over a period of a month, it will just come down and it won't stop. But I'm not, it's not the sort of play I'm really interested in trying. DAX is going to hedge. FTSE is going to hedge by the looks of things. DAX is stuck. We've got 2 minutes to this candle closes. At the moment, we're painting an inside bar. FTSE's very little volume. That initial order we came in on the DAX there at the open, very strong, but nothing, no follow through. Just bought the ADR indicator. Cool. Good luck with it. Most of the time it's fine. Yesterday was a bad day to be looking at ADR. Morning, Blue Trader, Pontevedra, nice and sunny, good. Morning, Steve, Chucks. So I just want to watch this inside bar form. So we've got an inside bar on the opening range on the DAX. So if you wanted to, take a break of that candle. So you're taking a much smaller range, much tighter risk, giving you a higher reward. But if you're trading the opening range break at the moment, that's it. And the FTSE is pretty much the same. It's an inside bar. So there's no volume this morning. Five seconds. Yeah, hedged on the FTSE. I'm closing my longs on the FTSE. This looks like a rejection at the weekly high. So looking for a push down basically into this area here. So this high here from last week is also yesterday's high. So we're stuck basically between last week's high rejecting, and there'll be limit orders ready to buy at yesterday's high. So target yesterday's high, which is right down there. So I'm just going to move my TPs up. I'm going to put one TP. It's a loss on that 419. Actually, let's just go with yesterday's high. So I'm just going to target yesterday's high, so 3.5 R to the downside. And probably going to get hedged on the DAX by the looks of things. We'll come back to those in a minute. So today, obviously, all the ADRs, the only ADR that isn't yen related was the Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. So we pushed up straight into ADR, reversal alert, and down. Very nice, easy reversal off of ADR there. It was a bit of a gap down situation this morning. So whether you got an ADR or not will depend on your broker. But yeah, it's a nice reversal this morning up there. Yens obviously are all extended. So with all these yen pairs today, the extension basically came pretty much in 5 minutes and it was undone in 10. So ADR on US dollar yen is 120. We got a 176 candle there on that second big order they put in, and it was immediately undone and then re-added to. So it was a large order executed twice. We're back up at that level again. So it was just a big order for a short. Whether or not they've unwound it or not, we'll have to wait and see. But it does look like they are trying to put a stronger second move in today. So those are your ADRs today. RSIs, there's nothing on the hourly at the minute. Aussie New Zealand is extended on the 4 hour. So we've got a good extension there. Still on that Aussie New Zealand. This thing's been running away for 3 weeks now. We've had 3 weeks solid up candles. This is week 4. 4 weeks in a row. Yeah, an entire month of buying. This thing is absolutely exhausted and embedded up here. On the daily time frame, we are up above the 80 level, yeah? We don't often get above that 80 level. It's rare. Can't see that, it's behind my head, but there's an extension there above the 80 level as well. That was the start of that move. So we are breaking out, or trying to break out, of these recent highs. So this range that we formed here, we're trying to break out of that range. There's absolutely no reason for this move up on that New Zealand dollar rate announcement either. So exactly the same as yesterday's news on the US. There was no reason for that US dollar move. They undid it. There's no reason for this New Zealand dollar move either. And the fact that we're breaking out of a range with both interest rates having been on freeze for 12 months doesn't make any sense. So I think this is a very good short opportunity if you're not already in it. I think this is a false breakout and we're going to come back down, but we'll see what happens. So that's extended on the 4 hour, but it's been extended on the 4 hours. You know, week one, it was extended on the 4 hour. We got a small pullback on it. We got extended again. All you're getting basically is push, flag, push, flag, push, flag, push. Yeah. I think the next one won't be a flag. I think it'll be a pullback. So we'll be going back into the 24.72 area. And then we'll see what happens from there. Euro CAD also just about extended on the 4 hour. That's just coming out of extension now. You'll have had a reversal alert on that this morning. No, you haven't. Yeah, no, you haven't, because of the that move up. Depends. If you're trading M5, you've had a reverse alert. M15, you haven't. M5 was yesterday. So that one's extended. Euro New Zealand also extended off the back of the New Zealand dollar news. Beautiful divergence there. Yeah, you've got double divergence. So very bearish. Euro's bearish anyway because they're dropping interest rates already. New Zealand isn't bearish because it's maintaining interest rates and their inflation's too high. So this is a lovely short. This is probably just a 71.9 pullback. In fact, it's actually bigger than that, isn't it? Oh no, the move started up there. There you go. So it's probably 61.8 pullback, isn't it? Spot on. 61.8 pullback. So deep trend pullback there. Euro New Zealand, so that's a good short. Pound CAD, double top. Looked like it was rejecting this morning. I'm short on this one already. I was short on it last week as well, which I got out of. So I was out on my shorts last week. But it's extended again at that double top. So this pound move, on the talk of not reducing interest rates in August, is unconfirmed. So again, same thing as with the Fed. We've had daily, no. I can't remember who it was. Whoever it was at the Bank of England came out. Daily's Fed, doesn't he? Can't remember the guy's name. It's going to annoy me if I can't find him now. Never mind. Anyway, some bloke from the Bank of England, Man. I knew it's. That's why I said Daily, because I knew it was a really short name. Man. Man basically said, I don't think we're going to chop the interest rates in August because I think it's a touch and go on inflation, 2%, which is fine. But he's just one of 9. So we've had that reaction basically off of that news. So if we can get some negative numbers on the US today, this will pop through. Then we'll see what happens. If we get positive numbers on the US today, the CAD will power up and this will drop back from that weekly high, monthly high. So we are finding limit orders triggering at the monthly high as usual. So we've tried to attempt to go through it. The bears pushed back, bulls pulled it back in. We then couldn't make any more progress. We tried again, couldn't make any more progress. Bears started to take control. This morning, bulls are trying again. So this is either going to be flag break long or it's going to be an M pattern reversal. So if you drop down to the hourly, you'll see the reversal. Oh, the reversal hasn't kicked in actually because of the strength of that move yesterday. So yeah, not very clean, but that's kind of your end pattern there. So the reversal alert indicator obviously works off the last bear move. So and because that bear move made a new high, we're not using that. So that would be the level I would look at. If we break that level, that would confirm for me a reversal. So see what happens today on the pound. There's no news on the pound today. Pound New Zealand, same 4-hour RSI extension. Beautiful bearish beautiful bearish engulfing gone in there, but we still didn't manage to break that low. So we have made a higher high and a higher low on the 4. So it is still bullish, but we're extended above that 80 level on the 4-hour, which we know is very, very good. I've got 3 shorts on this at the moment, just over an ADR to break even on it. Had to do some drawdown control on this one overnight. So I've done 2 drawdown controls on it. So yeah, just waiting for a drop, basically. I'm going to put some targets in on this. Very nice big propulsion gap. We're not going to hit this today, obviously, but that would be my ultimate target on it. Coming back to retest the propulsion gap for that made the break. So this is the news of Man saying, I don't think we're going to drop the interest rates, and our GDP number going up as well. So we need Bailey. We really need Bailey. He's really letting us down at the moment. He's not talking and not giving us any information. We've got a lovely resistance coming up as well. Actually, there. So that's the reason for that bearish engulfing there. Limit orders triggering at the highs. So banks and institutions have got orders set at limits, which is here. So this is a limit order trigger. So we'll see if they continue the bulls to try and break that level, or whether these limit orders are going to overpower them. If the bulls try again and get pushed back, they will flip short and exit the profits on that position, and we'll just get a cascade back down into this area. So we'll be moving into that range. So we'll see what happens with that one this morning. Pound US dollar, obviously this one is going to move off the news. Had to do a load of drawdown control on this yesterday off the back of that news. Just annoying because I had 2 positions on here by accident. So I'm over leveraged on it, which has obviously cost me twice as much in drawdown. These things happen. But yeah, nicely extended. Beautiful bearish divergence going in at the moment. So looking good for a pullback. It needs one. But US dollar, bad news yesterday. Pound, good news this week. Yeah, we really, really, really need some positive PPI numbers this afternoon. If we get the positive producer price index coming out, that's going to power up that US dollar, and we'll get a nice drop on that one, but nothing much I can do with that in a minute. Did I get hedged? Yeah, just been hedged on the DAX. So targets on the DAX. Weekly high double top. So nice obvious upside limit orders there. And downside. Tricky downside. Yeah, very tricky downside. I'm just going to leave it where it is in that propulsion gap, which is just shy of ADR. So that's 5R to the downside. So we'll see where we go on the DAX, but hedged on that one this morning. So that's pound US dollar. New Zealand dollar yen is obviously extended, so we know what's going on with the yen. They're all over the place. So it's amazing. The look at the RSI on the yen. US dollar yen is probably the best one. Look. Literally within a day, pretty much. It's not within a day, is it? But we've gone from almost extended above to almost extended below. Normally that will take a good week to happen, or more, week or two, 24, 48 hours. So, you know, just ignore anything to do with the yen at the moment. Anybody, so I know some people are still trading this, trading the yen, and good luck to you, but it's just too Too erratic for me. I'm out. I bought both POS and SIH EAs. It's impossible without them. You miss so many opportunities. Yeah. That's why I build them. It's not impossible. You just got to be working very hard all the time. And I don't want to do that. It's pointless. I don't do this because I want to work all day. I do this because I want to make money, which at the moment is very difficult. But anyway, so that's your RSIs, which is only H4s today, and your ADRs, which are meh. So the yens, basically, I'm not going to get involved in them. I'm almost at the point after the round of back testing that I've done, which I covered in the RSI 2 video. I've just looked at actually yesterday. Can't find it at the moment. I've looked at all of my back testing for the position trader EA, for the market reversal alerts EA, and for a couple of other EAs that I've built for testing pretty robust strategies, which I don't trade. But I've looked at them all and all the yen pair testing, and there's a definite drop in profit on all yen pairs, and there always has been on all strategies. Although they make money, and I've made money out of the yens over the years, no problem, the difficulty level in making money out of the yen and the profitability in the yen, I'm kind of at a point where I'm thinking, is it even worth bothering to try? Because it is a real trend monster. So for trend breakout strategies, it's very good because it is a trending beast. But it is also erratic, a little bit like gold and oil. So I'm kind of coming to the conclusion as to whether I want to trade it, or I'm pondering whether I want to even bother restarting trading the yen. Because if I look at my losses this year, the biggest losses this year, they have been caused by yen and Swiss pairs. Although I got it back on the last yen one, and I've made a profit, turned a profit, ever such a slight profit on this one, the cost of trading it is just too much. So unless you're going to long it, which is fine. Somebody said yesterday they were going to long this yesterday. So they basically drawn a channel and said, this is what I'm going to be doing. I shall be longing this because that's a pullback in the channel. I can't remember what time frame. I think they might have even been on the 4 hour. Might have been something along those sorts of lines. Don't know. Anyway, but trend lines are all discretionary, so they don't work because you make it up as you go along with trend lines, don't you? I can grab hold of it. Yeah. So everybody will draw a trend line differently. So if you're looking at that channel there, yeah, this is exactly where you buy it. But as I pointed out to the person that posted the chart, you want to buy the yen on a carry trade to try and make money from something that has just announced that it's going to drop its interest rates, which will devalue the currency, and another currency which has just done an intervention which will pump the currency. So the bias on this in the next couple of days could easily shift completely bear, and you're buying it at the bottom of a channel. That's fine, but the fundamentals are not pointing that direction right now, are they? So technical analysis is fine, but the market doesn't move on technicals, it moves on fundamentals. So it's just too erratic at the minute. And the same with the Swiss franc, especially with what we're doing with interest rates at the moment, they are just not playing ball, are they? They're the same as the Japanese. They don't tell us anything and then they suddenly do it. Or they tell us something and they don't do it. When you're trying to focus on what moves the market and the participants that drive them are either telling you nothing or telling you the opposite of what they're doing, it's virtually impossible to have a fundamental bias. Everything else we kind of know moves up and down all the time anyway. So there's an argument for not trading it at all, in my opinion. Now, the guys that, there's that guy on YouTube that trades the pound yen all the time. Yeah, that's his bread and butter, isn't it? I wonder if he is screaming and shouting about how much money he made yesterday, or whether he's not telling us how much slippage he got and how much he blew his account yesterday. Good argument for not trading the pound yen. Anyway, so there we go. That's what I got today, really. There's not a lot else happening. So back into profit on FTSE. DAX is stuck fast. So hopefully FTSE will pay me. I'm going to watch this level. In fact, what I'm going to do is when we fill this propulsion gap, I'm going to take half off. In fact, I'm just going to watch this propulsion gap because we might actually get some buyers out of this propulsion move. Yeah, I'm just going to take half off. So just sticking half in the bank, basically. And yeah, see if we can hit that target. So that'll bring that into, well, that's in profit at the moment, but at least it's limited the loss on that one. And the DAX, wait and see what happens. Morning, Harold. FTMO. Is anybody actually trading FTMO accounts? And have you ever gone over your drawdown limit? Because I'm confused. I thought the daily drawdown limit was 5%. Why am I still trading? Confused.com. So I'd kind of half given up with this, but I pulled the profit back to break even, done 3.25% this week, banked 1.47% today. I'm sitting in 6.43% of drawdown, which I would imagine is a fail. And all other prop firms I've ever traded with, the millisecond you hit 5%, your terminal freezes and they stop. All your positions get closed out. That's it. You're done. FTMO drawdown is over a period of time. What period? Is it? So if this is below 5% at the end of the day, I'm all right, but I can go over it. I don't get it. It doesn't seem to make any sense. It doesn't work the same way as most other props I've traded. I was funded with FTMO years ago, but I can't even remember. It was very early on. I can't remember how the rules worked. And I was using stop strategies then, so I didn't really... They'll probably tell you you've been over 5% when you hit target, probably, yeah. But anyway, yeah, so I'm loath to close this profit out and stick it down there because it's going to take my drawdown up to 7.5%. But I would have thought I'd have already blown it anyway. So... Who am I funded with? No one. I'm doing an FTMO evaluation, basically, just for fun. I don't use prop. I trade my own funds. It sort of resets each day. So you have 3% on one day, and then the next day, drawdown limit is 8%. I know it makes no sense. Yeah. This is my problem with prop. All of these prop firms have rules that are so complex sometimes that you just can't get your head around how it works. I booted this up this morning and I was like, oh, I forgot to take my yen profit yesterday, so I banked it. And I thought I'll leave half open. And then I looked at the drawdown and I was like, but I'm in 5.3%. It's the reason I did it was as soon as I hit the close button on that, I went, oh, yeah, because it's taken me over the drawdown limit because open drawdown was lower than 5% because I had that profit. As soon as I closed that profit, I go over drawdown limit. So I was fully expecting it all just freeze up and shut, but it didn't. So I don't know. Very confusing. But anyway, I'm not going to get funded with them because they won't allow one-sided trading, will they? That's definitely a one-sided trade. Very nicely extended one-sided trade. But yeah, anyway, I don't know. We'll see what happens with it. Oh, come on, FTSE, don't be like that. See if that propulsion gap holds. I think from what I remember, as long as you don't go over 10% overall, they say within 5% each day, you're good. So you could run up 3% drawdown in a day, then it resets and they give you another 5, which means you've got 5 plus the 3 you're in, which gives you 8 maximum for that day. That would, right, okay. But that's not how the others work. Which is fine if that is how it works, because that's actually probably a nicer way of doing it, isn't it? New Zealand yen won. We've got a big sell going on in the yen. Well, not big, but New Zealand yen 150 ADR. So they're unwinding this yen position. So just watch this today. If we do get a push up into sort of 200, 225 ADR, and we do a 50% retracement on this move, I'm not doing it. If you want to take a trade on the yen, a speculative possession based on the fact that they're going to do a second intervention, if they do, then obviously you want to buy a pullback. So some kind of pullback in there is where I would go. But it's kind of an edge, the drawdown, yeah. Maybe 24-hour reset of daily limits. Yeah, I'll go and have a look in the back end in a minute and see if I can figure it out. I just haven't, I don't trade with prop and I don't trade with FTMO, and I only did this for fun because I just fancied testing the RSI2 strategy out on it. But oh yeah, speaking of RSI2, so yeah, we've taken a loss this morning. Nice profit yesterday, taken a loss this morning, got some open drawdown at the moment. So we've got some squeezes going on, obviously, at the minute. And obviously, as we know, RSI2 doesn't work in squeezes. So like I said in the video, be prepared for a 10% drawdown on account. Yeah, that's what all my back testing and robustness testing has shown. But that is not necessarily right. It could go higher than that, couldn't it? Because obviously what's happened in the past is not indicative of what's going to happen in the future. So so we'll see what happens. But back test is working nicely. Euro New Zealand's triggered 2, which is good. So hopefully that didn't go 1.5 ADR. 110.93. Yeah, so that was within 1.5 ADR. We didn't shut out. We've taken a second position. Same lot size. All good. So if this pushes above ADR today, that one will close out. That one will remain on. We're taking a second entry up there. So we should never have more than 2 trades. Occasionally you might get 3 in a go. So this is why I'm forward testing this. I just want to make sure that the back test executes as I'm expecting it to execute. A lot of trades taken yesterday. So yeah, obviously we had a lot of volatility yesterday. So we'll see where that goes. But that number changes very, very quick. Obviously, you've got a lot of lot size on there. Got 23 lots on. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Fingers crossed. That's all I've got for you today. There's not a lot else really to discuss. So I'll be back on Monday at some point. I don't know when yet. So I'm contemplating moving Monday morning stream to Monday afternoon for obvious reasons. Sunday night, I shall be watching the football with pints. So, yeah, I might not be on Monday morning. I'm still deciding what I'm going to do at the moment, but I'll probably do an afternoon session. So on Monday, we'll probably be back in the afternoon. So I'll trade the New York Open on Monday. And obviously, we'll have a look at how everything's gone. So FTSE, obviously, you can see my plan on the FTSE, shorting it back down into yesterday's, just before yesterday's high. DAX Hedge, just going to go with yesterday's low, which is the propulsion move they bought yesterday. And if it does break to the upside, we've got a weekly high to run into. So That's the plan on those two today. US indices this afternoon, 1:30, we've got PPI. If you've had a sort of 3/4 to an ADR move off of the PPI numbers on the US indices, I'd probably give them a miss today. Fridays are typically fairly quiet, unless they're end of month, end of quarter. So the fact that it's a Friday and we've got news, and we've also got Michigan at 3 o'clock. So, you know, an hour before the market opens, we've got potentially ADR making moves. And then half an hour after, we've got potentially ADR making moves. It's probably not going to be a great session for the open. It'll probably move today, but whether it moves at the open or not, probably get a whipsaw. So I'm just going to watch what happens at 1:30. If we get very little movement, then there probably will be volume available at the open. But if the volume's all gone in before the open in the Globex session, they're not going to move it. So I'll probably give it a miss this afternoon on the US indices. But we'll see where we go. All right, so have a good weekend. My work has let us have a late start on Monday. Good one. Yeah. I'm sure there's an awful lot of people that are going to have a very mystery illness on Monday. There's a lot of call for it to be a bank holiday on Monday, but I don't think that's going to happen. So we will see. Anyway, so good luck if you're watching the football. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we don't have to watch from behind the sofa on penalties and we just basically win 3-0 in the first half. That'd be lovely. But yeah. I will see you on Monday if you're about. If not, obviously, same schedule as normal for the rest of the next week. So next week, obviously, I will adjust on the website the Monday stream. But yeah, normal stuff all the rest of next week. It's coming home. And I think Biden's going home. Anyway, have a good one. I will see you guys in the next stream. Anything you need, Telegram or Discord. All right, have a good one.